Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jamie. I'm just doing a quick share here. And what I decided to do is, I'm always trying to be transparent because I'm just a middle-aged dad of four, works a job like most people, and learned trading over the past couple of years, options only a little over a year ago. And I've spent a lot of money learning the wrong way. I spent, over 20 grand for me, which is a lot of money, trying to figure it out. And I should have probably paper traded more. But I did watch a lot of stuff, and I feel like I'm pretty getting there, right? So this account and Robinhood, of all the accounts, I have a lot of different trading accounts that I use: Fidelity, Thinkorswim, E-Trade. Just, I kind of like to have different things. I put money in different places. I don't have millions of dollars or anything, but I like Robinhood for options because it's fun for me and just to kind of play around with. So 3 months ago, because over the time I've had it, I've had it up as high as 60 grand. But if I look in here and I'm like, all right, I was at 3 grand 3 months ago, and I'm right back to 3 grand, basically. So I was making progress, but I wasn't really trying to do this. I was just in this past couple of weeks, I said, let me just start doing this video thing for my friends and people I talk to as I add them, and just kind of share what I'm doing. So the reason I'm showing you this is I had Volta. So you don't see that on here. So that was green. And what I like to do is I like to look at this as my little money tree. And I like to go pick them when there's a couple $100 on the trees. Now, obviously, I don't always win, right? But the longer you're out, the farther out you are, the better your chances. And if I showed this video, you can glance at it. And if you go back a week or something, and if I can kind of put it in the subject line the right way for reference, it's like snap, right? Which I'm not talking about right now. I have a year to get green, okay, which I feel pretty good about, but I don't want to talk about that today. So I'm going to talk about Volta, which I just closed. And Volta, I have shares of it in Webull, but and also in Thinkorswim. I'm starting to add them. I want to buy shares. I'd like to get 500 shares of Volta. But I bought 2 contracts for $140, and it gone up to $390. So it's a profit of $250. So I cashed it in. I locked in the profit. Okay. And then I entered a new position with another one, which was CHGG. And I want to show you why that wasn't that it was wrong, because I still think there's upside here, but my time frame is wrong. So for leaps, which is long-term, oh my gosh, let me see. I just had it up here. I can never remember it. Long-term equity anticipation securities, right? I don't know. You can Google it. You can look it up. But basically what that means is when you buy an option that's 1 or 2 years or further out, right? I know there's futures and all that stuff, but for me, I learned that from a guy named Adam, and In the Money. And I like, In the Money basically is when you buy an option, which I'm going to get into, where it's in the money, not out of the money. So CHGG, it's down $344. I only have until next week. I was kind of surprised, right? But when I look at my chart, which is kind of like what motivated me to jump in, I was like, it was on my watch list. It popped up on a big loser. I saw that it was, it'd been for support and resistance. That's what I look at, over here, right? Like 62-ish seemed like to be a pretty good support, level, and it just fell through that support. So I do think it will recover. I do. But when I looked at the chart and I saw how below on the indicators, it was below the RSI 30, I was like, oh, maybe this thing will pop back up again. And I got it a couple weeks out. So you can see when it happened, which was 6 days ago, counting today, trading days. I only have 8 days left. I have until, today's Tuesday, right? Tuesday. So I got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then all of next week. So I have basically 8 days, trading days, for it to get back to 35, just to break even, right? So it's disappointing because, when you get in these things, you're like, oh, I want to make money. Like, that's why I showed Volta. Is the goal is to make 20, 40% or more. That's the way I've been doing it. And, you know, sometimes you make 100% or 200%, right? But either way, if I invest, like with Volta, I made more than that, right? Because I bought it for $140. I made $390, so I got my $140 back, right? So basically, I got double. I got a 100% return over that, right? Yeah, over 100% return. So I don't look for that, but if it comes, I'm going to grab it. And if I can make 20 to 30%, depending on the size of the contract, how much it costs, and I want to lock in those profits to keep building up the kitty, so to speak, so I can get to bigger things like Tesla. Because when you sell those calls, I mean, like I'm selling an AVIR call, I'm going to make $55 or so, which isn't a lot, right? But it's almost guaranteed that you're going to make money, even and if it sells, I make a couple bucks a share, and it offsets my average costs for the shares that I have right now, which is, I'm losing $200, but I put the 50 in, my average cost comes down, and that's going to go back up anyway. But again, I'll talk about that one another day. So with CHGG, I probably will get back into it just for spite, because if it doesn't recover and I do lose my two calls, which cost me $390, which is what I lost, what I made with the other one, then I'd be disappointed. But I still think it's a good play, but I probably, let me get over here. If I get back into it, I would probably go out to 2024, basically 2 years out. And I would go in the money. I'd probably buy a $20 call, right? Because right now it's at $29. So I have to get to basically $35 just to break even for what the premium would cost me. And so I'd have to put $1,400 up today if I was buying it, right? Because the spread is pretty big. I mean, it's a pretty wide spread, $14 to $15.4. So maybe maybe I take a shot and I try to get it at $14 or $14.10, right? Who knows, right? So it cost me $1,400 roughly. So if it does go to 35, which I think it will. As I get over the dollar and I go back to this, this chart, I have 2 years for it to recover back to this 55, 60 range. And anything over 35, every $10 over 35 is $1,000. So if I'm into the play and I tie up $1,400, then it's like owning shares. I'm thinking, okay, so if it goes from 35 to 45, I make $1,000. I make almost 100%, right? 70% or so. And then if it goes to 55, I make $2,000. So I've doubled my money and then some. I don't know the actual percentages, but I mean that's going to be a good return, and I feel like that's where that one's going. All right. So is there better places to put $1,400? Maybe, like cryptos, and that's what you think about. But that's what the diversity is. If I have Coinbase and FEMAX and Kraken and all these other different accounts that I use, and swaps, like I just got out of Shiba Swap, and that's the last one I did. But I moved $2,000 right into something into Coinbase. So I'm constantly moving money around. I'm learning more about that, and but I figured it's better for me just to kind of talk about one stock, because if somebody's looking it up and I'm like, that's what I do. I'm like, hey, what's going on with this one? And I want to see what people, what's the sentiment, on this stock, and then I can do all the deeper research and stuff. And all these platforms have analysts, and analysts here are saying, oh, it should be minimum 38 currently today, because that could change at any moment. They can lower the what they feel like the stock should be worth, and that happened with Activision Blizzard recently, and and that's it. But I look at this and I'm thinking, well, there's still a lot of upside there. I still think 55, 60 is pretty good today, and that's what I'm watching. All right, I'm gonna go. I got some guys here looking in my window. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, that's them. All right, see you guys. Bye.